Pharaoh. I'm up here chilling. Been sick for a while, so that's why I never got a chance to get back on this jump. Um, I mean, it's kind of hard to get on here when you're sick, but you know what I mean. Like I said, I try not to make Tupac videos too much. Try to make it mixed, but I keep on hearing reaction to Tupac videos, and I keep hearing people dissing Tupac, and it's really pissing me off. Because, like I said, I'm 50 years old. I grew up on Tupac. He died when I was 19. Um, and his legacy still rides with me to this very day. He's my favorite rapper. I think he's the greatest ever. People want to talk about lyricists. Who cares about lyricists? Because the rappers today can't rap at all. And where's lyricists in fast rap, mumbling rap? There's no real rappers out there like that. There probably are, but not as they used to be. Back we had quantities of rappers. You know, even the ones that you thought you never heard of before came out of the woodworks, like from the south, from the north, from the east, and the west. They sound good. It's then they never got a chance to actually show how good they are. So let me get to this song. One of my favorite songs ever. Um, Life So Hard by Tupac. Get into it.
So hard on a nigga when you living like a G. Life so hard on a nigga when you living like a She traveled through my mind and my blood is a shame. Young brothers getting murdered straight took out the game. As I'm sitting living fucking on the streets, man, you gotta be ready. You never know who's plotting on the nigga death. Cause he's on the rough time. Just to hurry up and duck, motherfucker, before I butt mine. It's getting crazy. Rock the track, surrounded by niggas, but damn, motherfucker, down to watch your back. These are the rich made niggas. Even they nigga while you starving and broke, they pull up 6 days. Ooh, what can you do when you can't trust your crew? Time to bust out the 22. Ooh, yeah. Man, I'm weed, so I'm sipping on this Tennessee. Tell me, do you feel that? Hey, I know we're wrong, as I take another sip from the nigga, I spit my shit.
And like I said before, there's a lot of hate for a man that's been dead nearly 30 years. And there's a lot of people out there that never grew up on Tupac. It's like you're saying Jordan never did anything in his career, but he's called the GOAT. But y'all don't want him to be the GOAT because you want your own person to be a GOAT. I understand that. There's always going to be competition throughout any type of history of music, athletics, anything. But the thing is that Tupac wasn't into competing with nobody. He was just into making music, making money, and trying to survive past 25, which he didn't do. Which I don't understand why people hate on him when a man that died at 25 made more albums than rappers that made albums, throughout their lifetime. It's crazy. He went diamond twice. People say, oh, he's not lyrical. I don't care. This man was a poet. If you ever read his poetry book, um, you will understand why he was such a influence on just not people in the hood like me when I grew up in the hood, but people outside the hood that were actually people that were trying to represent the black people of like Africa and many other places around the world, like that was struggling with racism and shit. I mean, and struggling with things that were going on in life. Like, he wanted, our black people to thrive. Now, come on, man, you got a rapper that wanted to thrive and help his black people, not because his mother was a Black Panther or his stepfather was a Black Panther. It was because that he wanted to become something. Because I really think he would have gotten to politics once he retired from rap, or probably just started his own business. But he would have probably ended up in politics. And I don't think a lot of people that want to become in politics. I believe that you kill somebody young before they reach their goal, so they won't be able to influence nobody else in the future. That's why they killed Tupac young, because he won't be able to influence people like young black and brown people, even light-skinned people, that he could not influence and talk about the truth about the way where we came from, how we live, and where we're living now. And this is the reason why they killed him. Because I don't believe I don't believe none of the motherfuckers killed him. I believe the government killed Tupac. And I will believe that to my very dying day, that the government killed Tupac because they hated him. Just like how J. Edgar Hoover killed Martin Luther King because he hated that Martin Luther King was bringing black people together. He hated it so much that he tried to make lies and say he was cheating on his wife and actually saying he was gay, even though J. Edgar Hoover was gay. You know what I mean? But he was trying to say that he was gay, and he was saying that he was cheating on his wife by trying to follow him around, take pictures of him being with other women. Like, it was so horrible. And they couldn't do that to stop him, so they ended up killing him. I mean, they tried to blame it on some white guy that actually said he didn't do it. No, he wasn't even in that area at the time, but they had to blame somebody. Like they did the freaking Oswald killing killing John F. Kennedy, and also they wanted to blame the black Muslims that killed Malcolm X, but they know that the government killed it. Government kills people that actually try to turn black people into survivors and have knowledge. Because if you have a black man or a black woman that has knowledge, they're the most feared people on the planet. You know. So let me get back to this.
Life so hard on a nigga when he living like a she double to the fullest. Got my strap, I'ma pull it on the first motherfucker that can outrun a bullet. It's the dub like niggas that don't like tricks. Got the punk wannabes and they jockin' like bitches. Like our bitches is keeping hoes on its own. Fuck the mystery, do you wanna get with me? Then let's bone time, I take it to my hideout. Cause I'm smoking that spinach, I'm staying strong to the finish and then I ride out. See you on the freeway. Sorry baby, but I gotta throw my homie. See what you say, cause I ain't got no time. I gotta keep mine, I keep my mind on my loop. I'll shoot every time, and ain't no way I'm gonna
Then big bags with the heat, catch me tripping, addicted to the ability. Hell no, see, one thing about it is sometimes when you know songs, sometimes you forget words, and then you try to, you know, replace them with other words. Because I know every single Tupac song that came out, and the thing is, sometimes I forget words. So, the thing is, I want to say for the last verse. Yeah, I mean, I was watching something on YouTube, and it had to do with Trump and the racist methods that going on in the world that has never changed, and all the things that he's doing to this country. People have never changed their mind about what's going on, but they keep on thinking that he's actually going to change the world. And Tupac even said it, you know what I mean, in one of his videos. Push, 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 take, take, take. And that's what he's doing. You know what I mean? And not to say that, you know, there's not any other type of politician. Like Democrats do the same thing, Republicans do the same thing. They're both, you know, work together. You know what I mean? Because you can't run a country by yourself. You got to have somebody to work with you. So I know the Democrats look all beautiful and precious and clean, but they're not. They got demons too. So the one thing about Tupac that makes me really get into his music is he actually cares about the black community, dog. Like, he actually cares about his black community because he knew where he grew up. He knew where he came from. He knew he came from New York. He knew he moved out to Baltimore, and then he moved out to L.A. He was also in Jersey. I mean, he also, you know, moved around so much that he just said, you know what, forget this. I'm not going to move no more. I'm just going to settle. Yeah, he was in L.A. No, he didn't stay in L.A. long. A lot of people say that he's not an L.A. person. Who cares? He died at 25. So he never got a chance to live in L.A. for 40 to 50 years. So why are people hating him so much because of a man that actually defends black people? And it's black people that are saying this. Black people want Tupac to be this hardcore thug out, which he even said he's not a thug, like hardcore. He said thug life means other things. You know, struggle of black people. That's what thug life really means to him. It's the struggle of the black child and the black woman and the black man. You know, so we have to live like a thug to survive. Like, we're not out here trying to hurt people, kill people, and do shit like that. That's not us. Because we are more common to help people. It's just that we are always portrayed as bad people on TV, on the internet and stuff. Like, that's been going on ever since the first news broadcast around the world. They always talk how bad black people were. You know what I mean? And Tupac tried to settle that. Like, listen, stop talking about my people. You know what I mean? You know, and he had his mother that was right beside him. Like, he never left his mother's side. And that's the only thing I don't like about when they talk about single moms. Tupac was a single mother. You know, Biggie Small's mother was a single mother. And you say that these rappers are the greatest, but you never understand their struggles and what they've been through, not just by themselves, but with their mom and probably their brothers or sisters or whatever who they grew up with. You know what I mean? They struggled. You know what I mean? They cried. They weep. They did everything that normal people did that in the hood before they got out the hood and made money. You know what I mean? But they never forgot their roots. And that's why I love Tupac, because he never forgot his roots. And before he died, he even talked about his roots on interviews. But people hated him so much because they just didn't want, they wanted him to stop being the pretend thug. I think he didn't want to be what he wanted to be, because he said, it ain't my life. This is not what my life is supposed to be. But it became that. But the media is the one to try to destroy him. You know, the people follow behind media. So when media says this is bad, this person's bad, people are going to follow what the media says. You know what I mean? The internet will say somebody's bad. They will go online, get a 15 million views because they said that person's bad. I don't give a fuck if white, Puerto Rican, black, yellow, brown. I don't give a fuck what culture he is. That person is called bad or evil. People are going to look at that video and give it all types of likes and comments, because they're going to sit up there and say, well, since the media said that he's evil and he's a killer, he's a murderer, and a molester, a child abuser, we're going to call that person the same thing. Because like I said, the internet is the most evilest thing that was ever created. And they're starting to put down Tupac and many other people like Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, all these people that were all powerful people in their genres. They're trying to destroy them today, even though they, you know, Tupac's dead. Jordan retired almost 20 something years ago. Tyson retired almost 20 years ago. You know, it's crazy how people talk so bad about people when they're done, but they praise them when they're alive.
Tell me, do you see life so hard on a nigga when you're living like a bitch? You never bow down. I'm the biggest fraud.
I'm a good motherfucker, living first with the roll, second here, till the cradle, till the grave. Fucking fool, and I choose to get paid. We gonna need a heat in the night. Fuck, get no question. I gotta keep on the hard rope. He is on a stroke. Then I constantly smoke my memories of a youngster. Who? Who? And this is the life, nigga, and we crazy. Tell me, can you see?
Tell me, do you see life so hard?
My last words. Come on, people, yo. Let's change this shit around, dog. I know every person probably on the internet, out of the 8 billion people on this planet, the 400 and something people that are in America, you know, the 4.3 billion women and the 4. Well, I think 6 billion men on the planet. You know what I mean? Always going to say they're going to try to change the world if it's dirty, but they can't change it because they feel like it's a hard job. And, you know, everybody has to get together to do a cleansing of this planet, because this planet is so massive, and the hate and the evil that people have in them is crazy. Like, I never thought that I hear people hate so much on somebody that's dead or old or can't do what they used to do. But when they were alive, they were their homies, they were their friends, they were high-fiving them, they were talking about how beautiful they were, how nice they were. Now, they're not the same person because they can't do what they used to do for you or for the masses. Then they try to destroy them and disrespect them and hurt them in other ways, which I said the internet is the most evilest thing ever created. People can tell me, oh, no, it's not. Yes, it is. It's the most evilest thing ever created. Because if the internet never exists, how would we get along? Because we would have communicated. That means we would have been talking to each other. We would actually be talking face to face with each other. We wouldn't be texting each other. We wouldn't be on YouTube. We wouldn't be on Facebook. We wouldn't be on Instagram. We would all be a family like we were before cell phones. We will go to Christmas dinners. We will go to Thanksgiving dinners, Easter dinners. We will actually go out on trips. We would actually do things with our family. But we don't do that shit no more. Like when I grew up, like it was all family time. Like we always would did something on a holiday. Now, since my family has been discombobulated, broken up, and I think a lot of families in my generation has been broken up and discombobulated, because I believe once the internet came in, it destroyed a lot of the older generation, like the baby boomers and also the Generation X's. Because once the millennials came around, they started feasting on the internet. You know what I mean? And then you got the new generation that don't know nothing about anything, but they're starting to learn faster about the internet. And, you know, and AI is starting to control everybody's mind, you know, and we don't care. And racism and hate is still going to be in people's mind. I don't give a fuck if people could say I don't like that person. People will say I don't give a fuck about that person, but never met that person in their fucking life. You know, that person could be the nicest person in the world. That person probably give you their shirt off the bat, but they'll say I don't like that motherfucker. How you don't like that motherfucker? You never met that motherfucker. Well, they can't explain themselves. That's the reason why I hate this new life of generation. It's just like they're being taught so much shit that doesn't should be taught. You know what I mean? If you go back in our time and be taught by our older generations, like the baby boomers, and let the Generation X teach y'all what it's really like to actually enjoy our life before cell phones and video games came, in power. Because video games wasn't really that important to us. We had our bikes, we had our candy, we had our front yard, we had the hose, we had just everything in our grasp that made us happy. But then the cell phone came, then the PlayStation, the Xbox, the Genesis, and all that came, and then the new cell phone came. Then the Galaxy came. Then we got these new IMAX computers. Then we got all these different AIs, all these apps on these phones, which people think they're free and they're not. You got to pay for these apps to use them, but everybody thinks apps are free. But like I said, that generation's fucked up. That's all I want to say, man. I hope it changed, but I might be dead by the time this earth changed. I mean, and it might not even change then. It might still be the same old freaking planet that we've been living on for the last past how long? For a million years? So, peace out, everybody.
Nigga when he living like a cheap trick. Life so hard. Nigga when he living like a cheap trick. Life so hard. Nigga when he living like a cheap trick.
Life so hard on a nigga when he living like a cheap.
Tell me, do you see? Life so hard on a nigga when he living like a cheap. Tell me, do you see? Life so hard on a nigga when he living like a cheap. Life so hard on a nigga when he living like a cheap. Hard on a nigga looking at the dick. Hard on a nigga, niggas don't know. Hard on a nigga, panicking and fighting right. Hard on a nigga.
Out, run the bullet. He say.